I'm Lindsay. I am Landry's mom. Quick backstory. She was sick a lot. Flu, pneumonia in the right, just back and forth. So she spent a week after her first birthday in the hospital for 7 days. Then 2 weeks later, we ended up with RSV, flu again, whatever. So we went to an immunologist. At this point, she's like, I guess 14 months. He's like, hey, your platelets look funny. They're really low. And I'm like, how low? He's like, oh, they're about 69. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty low. I'm a nurse, so, labs, they suck. But I knew enough to know something wasn't right. Told my husband, I said, I have a really, really bad feeling. I think, I'm afraid she has cancer. And he was like, oh my God, you are such a worrywart. Ugh. So, fast forward, we end up to a pulmonologist because of all the lung issues. We end up in the immunologist's office, and he's like, I need you to go to a hematologist. I was like, okay. So get to hematologist. She's now 18 months old. Goes through a backstory and says, hey, we're going to do labs today. If they look bad, we're going to do a bone marrow biopsy. And I'm like, it's like the worst word ever is bone marrow biopsy, because you just know something's not right. So do a bone marrow biopsy. He's like, it's not leukemia, but her cells look like she has neuroblastoma. And I'm like, oh my God. So we're admitted to Medical City, Dallas, Children's. They do all the scans, head, neck, chest, abdomen, and pelvis. And they're like, but we don't see a tumor. I'm like, okay. You scared the hell out of us, but we'll go with it. So we want to see her back every week for the next however many weeks until we find the tumor. Because, her labs will tell us that. We did that for a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
She has been poked more times than I ever would have dreamed. I said, could you please do another bone marrow biopsy? Her platelets are 23. No, you guys don't think it's a big deal? I think it's a big deal because I think something's wrong with her. Oh, she just has ITP. I'm like, okay, I don't think so. So I fired them because they pissed me off.
Good job.
He said, he actually accused me of having Munchausen syndrome. I was like, I need a records release form, and I need it now. So I had a friend that worked at Children's. I said, hey, who's your best, hemonc over there? Because something's not right. Her platelets are 23. They said she had neuroblastoma. Now they say she doesn't. I don't know what to do. So she's like, okay, I'm going to set you up with this doctor. Go see her whatever day. Like, I don't know. In 2018, she was 3.5, almost 4. She was diagnosed with a rare bone marrow cancer after her 3rd bone marrow biopsy on November the 9th of 2018. So then we started searching for a bone marrow donor, which you would think, from what they told us, it'd be the match in DKMS. It'll be simple. She's Caucasian. They're mainly the people that are on the registry. I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. So that's November the 9th. I get the call. I'm actually working nights, so she actually leaves me a voicemail. I have it saved on my phone to this day. Like an idiot, I went to work. Worked my full 12-hour shift. I told my husband, when I get off, I need you to stay home, because he did not know. I worked. Came home, and he was already crying. He knew just by in my voice that something was bad wrong. So he stayed home that day. We both, were just in shock because we had waited almost 2.5 years to get that. And I just don't see how it was missed, I guess. I'm not an oncologist under any circumstances, but whatever. So I wrote them a highly strongly worded letter about how they misdiagnosed her for so long. She was so far in her diagnosis, she was about 2% away from full-blown AML. So again, we started the bone marrow search. It was not working. No one in the United States of America matched her. Out of 760,000 people, my little Caucasian girl didn't have a match. So we went international. Her bone marrow match is from a German man, and she started chemo February of 19. Bone marrow transplant was February the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. Everything went great. Smooth selling, you know, chemo, they puke. They get mucositis, petechiae, you name it, they get it. She did fairly well. Hair fell out very quick. And we went to Ronald McDonald House. Stayed there for, well, first we were inpatient we got there February the 6th. We left March the 29th. That was the first stint. Total, she's been in the hospital 165 days. She's got graft versus host disease. She almost died from hemolytic anemia twice. I didn't know that was a thing, but whatever. She's had every infection that you could name when they have no immune system. Graft versus host disease got a little complicated. When you go in for who had to do your consent conference? Did y'all do that in y'all states? Where you go in and they tell you, oh, here's all the things that can happen. Here's what you do if it doesn't happen. Here's what you do if it does, you know. And you sign all these forms, and I remember thinking, oh, graft versus host disease, no big deal. Just rash. Oh my God, was I wrong. Graft versus host disease set in with her. She went from a 43-pound little girl to a 30-pound girl to a 75-pound little girl. She looked like a linebacker. Back down to a 28-pound little girl. She has it in her hair, her skin, her nails, her joints, her muscles, her heart, her lungs, and her stomach. And it's irreversible at the stage that she got it in. So they give you Tacro when you have a bone marrow transplant, and it's supposed to prevent graft versus host disease. Apparently you're supposed to put it through the red lumen in the central line. Somebody put it in the blue one. And they drew her labs for 4 months and kept telling us, don't give Tacro. Her counts are real high. Don't give Tacro. Her counts are real high. It sticks in the lumens. I said, look, something's not right. I'm not giving this medication. She looks like a burn victim. Something is not right. And they're like, you know, whatever. So we'd gone to clinic 3 times that week. We're still living at Ronald McDonald. And I'm like, someone just do a peripheral draw. If someone would just do a peripheral draw, I know she doesn't want it, but it would just make me feel so much better. They walk in and said, her Tacro level is 0. And she also has BK virus. So now you're gonna get admitted. She's gonna have surgery tomorrow. They're gonna take her central line out, put in photophoresis lines, which required her to be hooked up to a blood machine for 4 hours at a time, twice a week. That happened in April of 19. She finished in November. She couldn't go outside because of the drugs that they put in the machine to switch the blood because of sunburns. But because it got that bad, it'll never go away. We've done PT, OT, everything I guess you could think of. She had clinic today, but because I'm on a vacation, no one will tell me what happened. I can see her labs and I know they look decent, but Landry in her own skin, she hurts. Her joints hurt. She can barely walk. You know, she missed kindergarten. We started the process to get her enrolled, but Jesus Christ, it's a beatdown. She had a physical eval, a OT eval, she's had an academic eval. She reads on a 3rd grade reading level all on her own. Being in the hospital, she downloaded ABC Mouse and Starfall, and that little heifer can read anything. I cannot spell anything in front of her. I spelled airplane. She said, just go on an airplane. I'm like, she's smart, she's funny, she is very much like her daddy. She's stubborn as hell, but she is tough. She's got more grit than any of my kids combined, and there's 5 of them. She's the baby, and her cancer is rare in kids, like 1 out of a million. Typically happens in older adults that have had cancer as kids.
By chance, is it MDS?
It is.
That's what my daughter has.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Wow. So there you go. Kids normally don't get this. The treatment they use for it is brutal, and it's like 90 years old. They have nothing new to give, and these kids, they suffer from it. She'll never be the same kid she was prior, and I'll never be the same mom I was prior. It changes you as a person. I had hoped, coming here and seeing other moms, that maybe I would find a little bit of the person I was before. But it is very hard to see your kid struggle like that. Like a normal, healthy kid, like everybody else's kid. Your kid's so healthy and lively, and the bravest kid I knew and could run and jump, and y'all, she can barely walk 10 feet without being in pain. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it. I can load her up on pain meds. I can do, all this stuff that I'm supposed to do, but I can't ever fix it. It won't ever go away. So, I don't know. It sucks. You just can't change it. And I really, really wish that I could go back to just before it happened, and I just wish my life would have stopped then. And I wouldn't go any further. I would be totally satisfied. Because watching your kid struggle like that is not easy, because she wants to do so much. She has so many big things she wants to do, and she probably won't be able to do most of them. She is really excited about recess, which is funny to me. So when we had her physical eval, she's like, she's probably gonna have to have a walker to come out here. I'm like, oh really? She's gonna put the walker up the slide too? How is she supposed to do that? The one thing she's excited about gets taken from her all over again. So I know some of you moms out there, our lives suck. Like, it sucks. You either have a good support system or no support system. I found FAM, I guess, shortly after Landry's diagnosis. Like within a few days. I had heard from another mom. We were just talking in the hall. You get close with those moms when you're on the stem cell transplant unit, because you're there forever. And they're like, oh yeah, you should, this is a good group. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep to myself because I don't want anyone to know about me. And then finally I'm like, all right, who cares? So that's how I got involved. And then, my daughter, she got involved. She loves FAM. She sees my oldest one, she's 19. She looks at all your kids' stories. She reads most of them. She's a titty baby. She cries all the time. And it's like, I'm following this kid. Are you? I'm like, yes, Haley. I'm at work. Did you know this? Yes, Haley. I saw it. So, I have a big support system. I am lucky. I'm not going to lie. We're a small community where I live, but my support system is huge, which is why I try to support FAM as much as I can. I try not to, I'm not ever going to have my hand out, ever. I don't care what I have to do. I will not have my hand out, but I will support anybody that I know that if I needed it, that you'd give it to me. Okay. So I try as much as I can to support FAM through fundraising and anything else as often as I can. I'm not great. I'm not the best at it. I have a busy life, but I try as much as possible. And obviously without you guys, none of us would be here today. So it's very much appreciated for everyone that put it together. And without you guys are the only ones that know how we all feel. We all have, they're all similar stories. The grief is different. My grief is different than yours, but it's still grief. And, we have to deal with it. So there it is.